please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call. Lindsay Bowman.
here.
Keith Vandervelde.
Yes, here.
Carol Golish. Jane Lloyd. Here. And I am here.
Okay, perfect. Public comment. Comments will be limited to 2 minutes per person and 20 minutes total time. Does anybody have anything?
I wish to comment later on the agenda, but not at this time.
Okay.
What?
I would like to comment on an item on the agenda, but not at this time.
What item?
The,
Excuse me, can I look at your agenda for a second? uh, 11I.
Okay.
QuickBooks.
Okay, I just want to make sure, because we have multiple agendas, I wasn't sure which agenda you were looking at.
Oh, I didn't get one coming in. Is there one? The next one?
Yeah, there's one over there. That
Oh,
yeah.
thank you.
But you want to comment on QuickBooks,
11I.
Yeah, that's correct.
which is QuickBooks.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, any other public comments?
No, I guess I got one. I'm Randy Schronk, I live right in Lawrence here. I don't know if the board was aware, but like 6-7 weeks ago, somebody knocked down the speed limit sign right on E. Then like 3 weeks ago, they knocked one down here on 3rd Avenue.
Okay,
So
okay.
I just want to let the board know.
Yeah, thank you for that.
There is one laying on the side of the road by Robbie Weissler's, which I think that's for.
Okay,
And there's-
maybe that's the one he's talking about then?
I don't know if that's the one we're talking about, but there is one lying down.
Where are the signs again? Would you repeat that?
Just when you come in on E from town, right on the right, there's a stop sign right by that field, Casser's Field. There was a broken speed limit sign. And it was laying by his driveway. I don't know who picked it up. And then right here, just right by Bobby Weiss, on the left there, there's a sign laying, broken off. That was 25, and this was 35.
25 and then
On E, and then the 35 speed limit sign on 3rd Avenue here.
Okay, okay, I'll contact Brian about those and we'll see when he can get those. Anybody else have anything? Okay. We will review and approve the September 19, 2024 special board meeting.
I make a motion to approve the September 19th, 2024 board meeting minutes as printed.
I second that.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
I make a motion to approve the November 9th meeting minutes as printed.
Okay, I'll second that motion. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion to approve the November 18th meeting minutes as printed.
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes.
I have a question on these minutes and whether there's, I know that you post them on something person, I don't know if it's you or who puts them on the website. Should they also be posted on the board out here?
Minutes don't have to be. I mean, if you guys want them up there,
Well,
they can be, but minutes don't have to be. They're not, like agendas should be and things like
Right.
that. But minutes don't have to be. They're just typically on the website or anyone can contact me and I can send them to them.
Okay. For the chair's report, the fire department report that I got was that there were 6 calls for service. One of them was in the town of Westfield motor vehicle, and there was 1 EMS assist. They were repairing pressure relief valves and air primer issues. They serviced the SCBA refill system. Wi-Fi compatible thermostats will be installed at the fire station. Reprogramming trucks and portable radios to include new channels for landing medical helicopters. And gauges getting replaced on equipment trucks for the SCBA fill system. Okay, clerk's report.
I have a question to follow up on my understanding is that Jason had a tool that he wanted to get back to us. What is it and whatever happened?
I never got it from him yet, so it's something for the, around Lawrence Lake is my understanding. Some maybe pump or something like that. I'm hoping to get it from him here soon, and then I'll bring it in and maybe see what people know about it. Or if anybody does know about it and wants to say something about it.
It's hard to say anything about it if we don't know what the tool is.
Right, exactly.
And then I have a question, and I don't know if this goes to the chair or if it goes to the clerk, so I'll go right between the 2 agenda items. And it has to do with website maintenance and who does it. For instance, I do know that our homepage has a contact us and still has Sharon's phone number on it.
Oh, I thought we, okay,
Well,
I updated the contact
we
us
updated
page.
the contact us page,
Okay.
but the homepage still has Sharon's phone number on it.
Oh, okay.
And so I don't know who needs to do that. And then how does the contact us work? So I send the contact into the website.
I assume that goes to Lindsay. She's the main contact for the website.
I did not get anything.
Have you tried the contact us?
That's what I did.
Okay.
Oh, okay, and I didn't get anything.
Yeah, I would have assumed it would have gone to you because her email address is the main email address on the account. So I
I'll
will,
look into that and see.
yes, I'm going to make a note.
See, but also for tonight's meeting, the only way you would know about tonight's meeting is if we went into the agenda page. So the banner didn't have a notice of the meeting, the news and notices did not have a notice of this meeting.
Okay.
And I guess, for me, I don't know about you, is that where you normally want those things? I mean, I put them on the agenda saying I don't,
Well,
do you want them in more places? Do you
I
let me
think
know?
that's what we should be talking about.
Yeah.
Because if this is a news item, we should be doing a notice of the meeting. It isn't even on the calendar. So it's like, if we're not going to maintain the website, then it's just not, it's not going to be used because it's not user friendly anymore.
Sure, okay.
Okay. So the banner, and you want it under events, and then
News
calendar.
and notices, right?
Right. Because we should be doing, we have a notice that we have to publish, on the website. So we should be actually putting this as a notice on the website.
Sure.
When you're doing the agenda, I don't think it's enough.
Okay, yeah.
Anything else, Carol?
Not on the
No?
news.
Keith? Anything else? You good? Okay.
Good.
All right, we'll move on to the clerk's report then.
Okay, so at the last meeting, someone had brought up that they thought there was a raise order for W8094 Eagle Court, which is owned by Peter and Catherine Kurt. I did check with county zoning and county health department. They have not issued any sort of raise order, and they said typically that goes through the town. When this agenda was posted, Peter Kurt actually reached out to me and said that they are actually working on tearing down the property. He said he got the gas shut off, but there was a problem getting the electric shut off. He now has that shut off, and they were hoping to get the structure torn down within the next month or so. With the ground frozen, they're not going to be able to tear the foundation all the way off the parcel, but they're hoping to get at least like the walls remaining.
So they're moving forward.
Yes, they are moving forward on it. So I don't know if you guys want to give them any sort of timeline or just give them a month or two here. I mean, it's going to be winter. I don't know how much work they're going to be able to get done. I don't know anything about tearing houses down. So I don't know if you want to give them a timeline, give it till spring and see.
What correspondence did we get with them?
So I did find in the minutes from September of 2023, 2023, where the previous chairperson had spoken with the property owners, and at that time, they were given 30 days to either fix the property, raise it, or sell it. That was the last mention of it in minutes that I found for the town. And then, like I said, someone brought it, townsperson brought it up at the last meeting, so that's why I kind of went and did some digging on it.
So he's anticipating doing it
In the next month or two, he said. They were hoping to get it down other than pulling the foundation out
Sure.
because the ground's frozen. Which he said they were hoping to then do in the spring when the ground thaws. So if you want to table it until the spring and see if they get it done, if you want me to keep it on the agenda for next month and follow up on it.
Sharon's got something on this.
Is it okay if I interject?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Mr. Kurtz never followed through on any of his promises.
Okay.
The last contact was with the zoning department and the health department. What happened was Tom retired. Somebody new took over. Somebody new was being trained. And so none of the follow-up that was supposed to be done by them occurred.
Okay.
And that's where it sat.
Okay.
So there was additional contact. If you give him till next spring, think about when the first letter and the first contact went out. He's already had a year and a half to address the issue. And the raise order, typically, Jean was going to check into that further. She thought it might be them because of health department concerns and a few other things.
And I did
And
talk to Jean.
it ended there.
I did talk to Jean, and she said unless it's a health department hazard and the health department does it, she said typically zoning doesn't issue a raise order.
Right.
I know the city of Montello just did a raise order for a property and it all went through the city. I mean, their attorney did everything for them. So I don't know that zoning would necessarily issue a raise order from my understanding, and it doesn't sound like the health department got involved in it really at all.
It was all in limbo, quite honestly.
Okay. So yeah, I don't know if a member of the board wants to reach out to Mr. Kurt or like I said, if you guys want to set a deadline for when they have to have this done.
If we set a deadline, what enforcement do we have?
Then you would issue a raise order, and it's an order that he has to follow or face penalties. I mean, keep in mind that the attorney's gonna have to do it all. It's gonna be costly, so our hope is that he now follows through on what, on what he says he's going to do, so that we don't have to go that way.
So should we maybe just give
I
them?
think we should just take him for his word at this moment, because we can't do a lot now because of the weather. And we just do a follow-up in spring and see where things are at.
Okay.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. Would we put the legal fees that were required on him?
I don't know how that works. I've never been involved in a raise order. I'm assuming maybe some of it. I mean, I don't know how if you take them to small claims court and recoup that. I just don't know. Or if it's part of what they get charged, I don't know.
Yeah,
I would hope you can recoup some of those costs.
The place is just, big holes in the roof on the sides of it.
Okay. Yeah.
But something is being done with it, because somebody put a piece of plywood on, it didn't cover the whole hole.
They
but
haven't.
It's like they make a little bit of effort, so at what point do we say it's not enough, but what do we have to be able to enforce it? See, we're not gonna be able to go in and, like you said, how do we enforce it? Right now, I don't see any option for that.
I think giving them a couple months would be fair, especially with the winter and stuff like that, and then we'll follow back up with it a couple months down the road.
March 1st?
March 1st? Sure. Yeah, for March meeting.
For the March meeting.
I'll put it on the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, next thing for clerk's report is voided check. So last month there was a check for $650 that was written to the Department of Workforce Development. I actually reached out to them because I wasn't sure what that was for, and apparently the unemployment reports that are filed quarterly have not been filed since second quarter of last year. So they were penalizing the town. I did get all of those filed and they did waive that $680 fee. So I printed the check because I wasn't sure they were gonna waive it, but I never did mail it. So that check has been voided and it saved the town $680. Perfect, you're welcome. Okay, and my last item was I was reached out to by Terry Johnson, her husband, and
Can we postpone that item till discussion, somewhere I got. It's 11G, they're both related.
oh, okay. Okay, that's all I have.
Okay.
But I have something for you.
Okay.
The workers' comp typically does an audit. And we have a request that came in.
Yes.
Did that get handled?
I am working on it. I needed some information from last year's 941 that I had to look up, but I've been working with Jesse on getting that done. It was apparently supposed to be done back in May. But yeah, Jesse, the insurance agent, has reached out to me. I've been working with him to get that done.
Anything else, Karen? Alrighty, we'll move on to the treasurer's report.
Okay, I apologize for not having the budget on the website. I'm not on to do that yet.
Did you get an email to get that set up? Did they get?
No. I didn't see, nothing.
Probably not.
So as soon as I get signed on, I will get that on there. I do have to, we are over budget. Our budget was $559,252. We're over $651,337. The tax collection up here, the actual, I need to check into that. I might have some of the 23s counting for the year before. I gotta look at that and make sure that is correct. So the actual number for the tax collected. And then I have everything on the sheet that you see in your packet that Courtney put in. Our checking balance is $82,052.30. We still have unpaid bills, couple transportation bills.
Are you sure? I know that one transportation is $199,000. That one has not been paid.
There's another one for $16,000.
Where are you
Where are you
getting
getting it from? Because the invoice,
Okay.
the county said that they did receive it.
Oh, maybe that was paid then?
The highway department says that they received a payment in November for $16,029.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the payment receipt.
So I got this. This is the receipt there.
Yeah, so we paid that
Okay.
we paid the $16,000 in November.
So that's a receipt, not a bill.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, then I gotta take that out of there.
yeah, so that needs to come off of that 16,001.
But you did pay the 21.
The 21, yep.
Okay.
Yep, and you have that on here.
Yeah, that's in there already.
Yep.
Okay. So the biggest bill remaining then is the $199,823 that we still owe for transportation.
Because this is December, and we're not going to have, we're going to have a timing meeting, should we have we received the $145,000?
No, we did get the, what was it, 12 or 14?
You got the
That's one,
11,000.
or, yeah, whatever it was. But yeah, we have not,
We got
Brian
12.
says it's still pending.
Which, I don't understand why it's still pending.
I don't either.
And what we can do about it, but I'm thinking that we probably should void the check, because I think it creates complications for you
Okay.
when we're going to do closeout, because our reports are supposed to be done on a cash basis. So we can't have outstanding check. I mean, we
Right.
can't have-
Yeah.
You wanna void that check?
Well, what I'd like to do is, I'd like to find out where the money is. We were told back in August it would only take a few months or a few weeks.
So the last payment we got was that $12,000, correct?
The 11,000, right?
12,000.
It was 12.
It was 12.
Yeah.
12.
I'm not seeing.
It's on black.
There it is, okay.
Oh, sorry.
So we're talking about check number
6780.
67?
Or 30.
6730, right?
Yeah. So What you're looking at there, all them on 12/30, we have not sent out yet. It's just going forward, we have not.
So the Amazon one
That should come off of there.
should come off there as well. So I believe that was part of what was paid back in October.
Okay.
I don't know what took them so long to start cashing our checks that we sent, but I did get notice from them that these are past due. And I emailed them back and said, these are the check numbers, this is when I sent them. And I know they've cashed them since then.
We still getting that. We still keep getting that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that.
So the Amazon
Alright,
has been paid?
Yeah, the Amazon one is already paid.
So take off the 16 and the 131.
Yeah. And then she did just give me the Adams Columbia bill and then the hometown community insurance, which is for her bond for tax collection. So I can write checks for those and add them to our voucher list for tonight, so we can get those paid as well.
Good.
Yeah, this one's in.
Sorry.
No, Sharon had something.
I just wanted to remind everybody on the board that with those Marquette County highway bills, when the previous clerk was in place, she paid them automatically. You have 60 days to pay Marquette County highway bills. You do not have to pay them the same month that they come in. So keep in mind that 60 days you have before that bill is actually due.
The 199
This
one
one
is
is-
well over 60 days.
yeah.
When was that one written?
It came in before I even started, I believe.
Oh, okay. I just,
And
you've got some
how-
time
yeah.
there with other ones.
And how do you pay the bills if there's no money in the checking account?
Yeah. Yeah, there's just no money in the checking account. to
Yeah,
pay that one
we're
right
over.
now. So,
So we're gonna take that off then? That check, void that check?
yeah, do you want me to void that check?
I think you're gonna have to void it to get your December reports to balance.
Yeah.
Because whatever we approve tonight on the 15th here, we're done now. And there isn't enough money in the checking account to pay the $199,000.
I do have some tax payments that came in. I have a bunch of checks, but I mean, yeah, I just got into it.
And I'm not sure we should be digging into that, because you gotta wait and do your settlements anyways. In January, you have to do your December tax settlement.
Okay, so
To
you
figure out
just-
how much of that is actually ours
You
anyways.
can't, yeah. 'cause
So we
that's-
can't spend that.
That's the next, for the
That was
next
the
cycle.
question, that's the question I had, is when, before these collections are coming in, how soon do we know what our share is versus the other agencies?
So next month, she'll have to figure out, yeah, for December collection, and then again in February, she'll do it for the January collection.
Will we ever get right?
We'll be,
All right, so we're gonna void that. right?
Yeah, I've got a note made here.
Okay, 6730 is void.
Okay.
The Amazon is taken care of, and the Adams Columbia Electric is taken.
Oh, yeah. Marquette County wants to take over the dog tags, which we get, what do we get, 5 cents?
And
25 cents?
the, I'm sorry, can I interrupt?
Yeah.
So I work for the county clerk's office, and we are the ones in the county who does dog tags. And we are not saying we want to take them over, we are offering to municipalities if they want us to. Some people are very pro, some people are very anti, and some people are, we don't care. Some of the arguments against it are that people aren't gonna wanna come to the county to get their dog tag. We haven't even talked about what it would look like if we did this, if we'd be mailing them to people. We imagine there'd be some sort of a portal if people wanna pay online. And keep in mind, this would not be until 2026. Everything's already set for next year. But a lot of municipal treasurers just, it's not worth the money for the municipal treasurers to do it.
$240.
We get, yeah, 210, I think, yeah.
And that's, yeah, you don't even keep that money, it comes to the county, so.
Yeah, I guess we give half a bit
The
away.
county
Yeah.
takes everything?
So the treasurer themselves gets to keep 50 cents per tag that they issue, that is paid
We
directly
get
to the
35.
treasurer. The town doesn't get anything, the rest of it goes to the county.
The town is
oh,
$35.
sure.
So
And that's you get that money, not the town, that is paid to you.
Oh.
It's part of your pay as a treasurer, you get to
Oh.
keep
Oh, you
that.
better fight for it.
So
Um,
if the dog takes do go to the county, Is there gonna be a cost to us?
Not as far as I know, there would not be a cost to the town, I can't imagine why there would be. Again, we are just in the very beginning stages of discussing if treasurers are even interested in it. If treasurers do decide they want it, and we wouldn't do this unless a majority of the municipalities in the county are willing to do it, each municipality that wants to do it would have to write an ordinance allowing the county to do it. So again, this would not be for another year. I will also say that dog licenses will be going up for 2026 by $3 per tag. So right now for neutered and spayed animals, they're $3 and they're $8 if your dog isn't spayed or neutered. So they will be going up to $6 and $11. So just FYI, that's coming in 2026. Doesn't really have anything to do with this, but apparently I just like to talk tonight. But yeah, so that is nothing that has to be voted on tonight, but it is something that you and the board will want to think about if that is something you guys would want to consider for 2026.
I think the main reason for the dog tag is to make sure that people keep their immunizations up for rabies,
Yes.
that they show proof of vaccination. That's probably more than the tag itself, it's the encouragement to get.
Yes, yeah, and that's why you have to register your dog, because in order to get it registered, you have to show that they've been vaccinated. But then what happens right now is the treasurers turn in lists to us at the county of who was issued what dog tag, and we turn that over to the dog catcher for the county and the sheriff's office. So if there is a dog loose, we can hopefully return it to the owner between the sheriff's office, the dog catcher, and our office. So, but again, that would kind of take a little bit of work off of your treasurer that our office would just be taking it over at the county. So again,
Sounds like a good plan.
no decisions to be made at this time, but it's, yeah, good to bring it up so that you guys can keep it later in 2025. You have to start creating that ordinance.
I don't know if this question should go to QuickBooks later or if we can bring it up now. I'm struggling with the financial reports that we've been getting for the last year, and it's not gotten any better this month, and I know that Jane's struggling. I know Jane can account for every penny that comes in and every penny that goes out, but I'm not sure that she's struggling with this report also.
Yeah.
Is there a report in QuickBooks? I don't want to put it in because I think there's differences there, but in QuickBooks that would give us this is the income for this month, this is the expenses for this month, and then maybe a year-to-date income and expenses. And it will use the budget categories that we have on the budget.
I'm going to tentatively say yes. I know you can get an overall, this was your opening balance, these were your expenses, these were your incomes, this is your closing balance. I would assume you can print a detailed one. I've never had a reason to it. I'm not sure even the version that I have right now you could. But I know with QuickBooks Online, I'd say 95% sure that you could get a detailed report every month like that.
Well, I used QuickBooks a long time ago, and I said, if you're gonna have a business, it doesn't make sense that you can't get a income and expense statement each month.
Yeah. Yeah, QuickBooks has some good reports that you can run.
Because this is,
Well, I have printed them before, I'll show you what they look like. Let me see if I have one here. I may not have brought one with me, but I can bring you one next time.
You're familiar with it.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I am familiar with it. And you can get that. You can get a report showing your income and your expenses.
fine.
But, so, like this, where I'm struggling with this tax income.
Yeah, let's not talk about the tax income, because I know that that's,
Well, no, but this though, if you're collecting, whatever you collect in 23 is gonna be in 23, not in 24. So if you,
no, I understand, but.
okay, so
What
that's not gonna show
I'm thinking
anything.
what I'm thinking about is I will create my own spreadsheet, my own Excel spreadsheet. Excel is a great tool, as long as you have the proper tools in there and checks and balances, and right now, we're struggling. So I would be creating my own, and I would at least be able to get all the income and expenses other than tax levy, because I know tax levy is unusual.
Okay, well, all the expenses are down there.
Well, I'm not so sure that they are.
So Carol, can't that be
The-
part of
the-
the discussion in 11I? That it all relates to?
The tax settlements are not in there, but our expenses are.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, let's do it there.
Let's do it there.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else we will move on to reviewing and authorizing monthly vouchers.
Okay, so I did give you guys the voucher report, so as I mentioned earlier, there are 2 bills that need to be added to that I just got this evening. Adams Columbia was $172.52, and Hometown Community Insurance was $196.25, and again, that was for the tax collection bond. So for the board members, I will print you guys updated ones, but I'll have to print those checks to have you guys sign those, so those will be added on here.
So what's the revised voucher total?
What I was gonna say, I
What was the 172 for, Brittany?
172.52 was Adams Columbia.
Okay.
Oh, you want the voucher? You want to add that to the- Oh, sorry.
Oh, gosh.
So your total voucher total would be $14,742.15.
I move to approve.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the December 2024 voucher report in the amount of $14,742.15.
Yes.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, on to the old business. Starting with the discussion and possible action on private equipment placed on Lawrence Lake. Just to cover something else with that, we are getting the barricades removed. They're likely gonna get to it sometime around the holidays, if not the first week of January. Just an update on the barricades. The equipment that's placed on Lawrence Lake.
Yep, so I did include in your packets an email from Jesse, the insurance agent, who said that this stuff is actually already, Sharon had it added on. So the town's already covering the property and the piers that are at that location, so there's nothing further to do with that.
I just want to comment about those barriers.
Okay.
They're supposed to be like a 5 to 6 foot separation between any barrier put there to allow people to take in kayaks and whatnot.
Sure.
The issue was them driving cars onto the property and trees that were knocked down and damage that has been done because initially we didn't know we owned that property.
Okay.
So I never went and looked, obviously, but there was supposed to be sufficient spacing and a type of barrier that allowed for people to still access that area
Sure.
and allow sufficient room in front of the property for people to park their cars long ways that were using it.
Sure. Sure.
So
And yeah,
I don't know what happened.
they were pretty tight. Like you couldn't pull an ice shanty through there or anything like that. So we had talked with the property owner next to it where the trees were cleared out. And I think they're building a new house up in there, and they were like, they're really ugly. I'd prefer if we maybe had logs down or something like that.
And we already had to talk to them because they let the company that was building their house and everything dump all of their property on the town property, the wood, everything that was being used there.
Okay.
And other neighbors complained about that.
Sure.
So they had to move all that. So it seems to be a property that people in that neighborhood got used to using for their own benefit.
Sure. Sure.
I live down the road from that property, 3/4 of a mile. We go by it quite often. We have never seen anything put there except the barriers. And the first time they put the barriers there was this much room. So if anybody had a cane, a walker, or whatever, and just wanted to walk and look there, they would be able to fit between the barriers. The barriers have been spaced about this far. But the man up this road said, even now, it's hard for him to get his kayak. He's older, it's hard for him to drag his kayak through there. And do we know whoever put the barriers there, or did it come up at a
The
meeting?
highway department, I think, was told to put them there.
We contracted with the highway department. There were 2 types discussed, a cement or like a metal one. But the idea was, again, that people were driving cars through there. And the barriers were supposed to be sufficiently set apart so that people could still utilize that spot. It's very steep to get down to the lake from
Sure.
there. So there were kayaks, there was a picnic table, there was all kinds of things that the people in that neighborhood were using that property to store.
Sure, sure.
I have pictures if you want them.
Okay. I mean, I was back there before. I mean, unless somebody else wants to see photos of it, but
No, I got those. I
The
thought they
Lake,
were doing
the
it
Lake
fine.
District was involved in it too.
oh, okay.
The commission, yes.
Sure. Okay.
So what do we want to put, some logs up there, some old railroad ties or something that, so people can't be zooming down there with four-wheelers, you know?
But
So,
that's you know, people didn't know it was a public access point.
okay.
It was a very well-kept secret. And one of the people involved in that whole thing was Robert Howell. And he sold his property and no longer lives there. He sold it a couple months ago. So there was just a group of people who lived on that area. Dalkey there is a dead end. It's not a through street there.
Sure.
And that was kind of how it all came about when a real estate agent questioned that people who were selling properties were indicating that they had private access to that.
Oh,
And it
so-
wasn't.
And it wasn't private?
No.
Okay, okay. So people could still drive their cars into it, or like what
There was
the reason
nothing
for-
there.
Okay,
And so they cleared out the whole property. There's some trees in the middle. And it was like a roundabout kind of thing where you could drive all the way around. But then the people living in that immediate area were storing their kayaks and other items on that property as well.
sure, sure.
And then someone tried to charge somebody who pulled their pontoon or boat up to the piers. Tried to charge them a fee. And they had 2 piers there, which was against DNR regulations.
Okay,
So we had to remove one of the piers because of the DNR regulations. And that's kind of how it all, when we discussed it at the board level, it was discussed the importance of having something there to limit access of vehicles, cars, and things from driving on that property.
sure.
It's a small property.
Yeah, yeah. And I think we discussed at the last meeting that if we do need something put back there to keep people, that we were gonna maybe just do logs to make it not so ugly for the neighbors and stuff like that. So,
That would look cool to me.
I think it could wait till spring.
wait to figure out if we need logs and stuff like
Well,
that.
right, because the barriers are still there, so we don't know if we have a different kind of problem.
Sure, sure.
And we're not gonna get too much stuff done between now and spring anyway.
Sure. Anything else on? Discussion and possible action on obtaining a bond for the clerk and treasurer.
So this is another thing that I talked to Jesse about. He said the town does have a blanket bond. I asked him, he said it does cover the clerk and treasurer. I asked him if it needed to be updated because we're new, and he said, no, it'll just get updated, when you guys renew your insurance policy. He said it doesn't have to be updated with individuals, it just covers the position.
Good.
So, nothing to do on that.
Wait a second, I had a bond.
Yes, you have to get a tax collection bond.
So it's different from this?
Yes,
Yeah.
this
I
is a
got
bond
that.
just in our normal duties. You had to get the bond in order to
I have
legally
both of them.
collect taxes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's 2 different ones you had to get to collect
Yep,
taxes.
I got
Yeah.
both.
So there's a bill here for 196.25 on tax collector.
Yes.
So that is what Jane
I-
just got.
Jane had it.
Yes, everyone who is authorized to
just
collect
have to go.
taxes has, yes, that's what we're paying, has to get that bond in order to collect taxes. It's called a tax collector's bond.
So now, what happens for Jane's backup? Is Jane the only one that can collect the taxes and you can't do a backup for her?
Not on tax collections unless you wanted to bond me or someone else as well, and you have to pay another $20.
It's all on there.
Yeah, it would be rare to bond a second person
Yeah.
within your, unless you're like a big city or something where you've got multiple people doing it, but for a town this size, it would be rare.
Anything else?
And she got the bills out on time. Thank you.
No, okay. Discussion and possible action on allowing Zoom/video meetings in participation.
Okay, so as I mentioned in the last meeting, I did have a chance to talk to Danny Goepelt, who is the IT person for the county. So what I did was I talked to him about what he had talked to the town of Packwaukee about. So he went and measured their building and got an unofficial quote of what it would cost them. The quote included, I was gonna bring it and I left it sitting on my desk at work, I believe a 65-inch TV, and then all the equipment, and I want to say it was just under $9,000 for initial setup. And then you'd also have to pay for a yearly subscription to Microsoft Teams. That's what he would recommend using. It would allow the person in charge of it to mute participants because you would not want to leave just everyone unmuted during the meeting. It would be chaos. He did say the one drawback to using Microsoft Teams is that if you have to go into closed session for something, you cannot pause the recording. You have to end it and then restart it, which means anyone who is on virtually would have to be sent a new link to join the meeting once you come back into open session again. The other thing that you would need is someone to sit here and run that software during the meeting. You shouldn't rely on your clerk to do it because the clerk's going to be taking minutes. You don't want a board member to do it because the board member should be paying attention to the meeting. So you would have to have someone willing to do all of your meetings that way, and then you would also have to back up all of that information and
It looks like more than we can afford right now.
Right.
Clearly, more than we can afford.
Yeah.
And if you were doing it in this building, I think you'd need more than that. This is a much bigger building. The acoustics aren't as good in here. I mean, I don't know that you'd even want to do Zoom meetings in this building. But your other building that you used to have meetings in is comparable-ish to the size of the town hall for Packwaukee, so that's why I just got a copy of that quote.
So we're going to table this until someday in the future?
I don't think you can table it,
Just drop it?
drop it.
Okay, just want to make sure we're on the same page.
Okay, discussion and possible action on creating an ordinance to allow election day workers to be split into shifts.
Alright, so, this again was discussed at the last meeting. We decided to table it, to combine it with decreasing the number of election workers. However, once I looked more into it, establishing split shifts is an ordinance and addressing the number of election workers is a resolution. So that's why it is two different agenda items. And in your packet, I do have copies of the ordinance and the resolution. So this one would be about that ordinance, and just to kind of recap what I said at the last meeting, this is basically just doing things correctly going forward. So I know split shifts have been done in the past where multiple people work throughout the day. Someone works, 6:30 to 11, and then someone comes in at 11. In order to legally be allowed to do that, you have to have a town ordinance. I don't know why it is that way. It's not my decision. That's the state statute. Yeah.
So we don't have a number on this document.
On split shifts? Right, because it's an ordinance, and you guys have been treating your resolutions as ordinances, and they're not. I haven't found actual resolution books for you guys, so there is no resolution number.
No,
There are no
you put a resolution number on here.
Yes, I'm sorry, an ordinance number. I'm sorry, I misspoke.
But we should have an ordinance number. We should put something on here.
Yes, so you should have
Because I thought I saw a list that would say 2024 or 1/22.
that's resolutions. So ordinances should be like section, or Title I, section this, subsection this is your ordinance number. But I have not found any sort of ordinance book or any ordinances that you guys have. You just have the resolutions, which are,
You gave me had some ordinances, isn't it?
those were actually formatted like resolutions though. The whereas, therefore this, those are resolutions, not ordinances.
Then most of them would be wrong because attorneys completed those resolutions and ordinances, so you probably have to reach out to them. But there is a big binder.
Yes, and I actually gave her there's two of them, I think, two binders, and she went through them, but all of them that say ordinance on them are formatted like resolutions. So ordinances are like, chapter 1 is like general provisions, and then it talks about the town board, and it has a sample of what your agenda looks like, and there's one for animal control that would cover your dog licensing and things like that, and there should be one for elections and who's in charge of your elections, what your election hours are, even though they're the same across the state, and things like that. So you need to have a whole, I mean, your ordinances alone should be a whole binder, so I do think that you guys need to look into.
We'll save that for the next board.
Yeah,
So we'll just take care of this one that we need.
but
to
yes,
have done.
this you do need, and call it, ordinance 1-1 if you want. So that at least it has a number, but it does have a title, ordinance
Well,
establishing
or we
split
should put
shifts.
a date on it. Well, I guess you'll have the topic.
Yeah, it'll have the adopted date on it, so.
So we're creating an ordinance for split shifts.
Yes, so this first one is the resolution, or I'm sorry, I got this in the wrong order. Ordinance for establishing split shifts for election officials. So it basically just says there shall be 2 or more shifts for election workers on all election days. The first shift shall commence at 6:30 a.m. The final shift shall end with the completion of all required election day duties that follow the closure of the polls.
I make a motion to approve the ordinance establishing split shifts for election officials.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, the next one is the discussion and possible action on resolution 01/2024, decreasing the number of election workers.
Yes, so, again, as I think Carol brought up at the last meeting, because we use an election machine or a voting machine, statutorily we're required to have at least 5 election officials. By resolution, we can change that down to 3, which again is what you guys have been using, so we're just bringing your resolutions up to date to meet with what you've been doing. So that's what this resolution does. There shall be a minimum of 3 election officials on duty at every election. At the discretion of the town clerk, the requisite number of election officials may be increased for any election. However, the number of election officials working at a given election shall always be an odd number.
I move to approve.
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Then you will be posting these on
Yes,
the website?
on the website and up front.
You're posting it on front, I'm going to do that.
Oh, yeah, you can, if you've got the keys, yeah.
I've got the keys.
Okay, yes, that would be perfect. Yeah, we just have to get all these signed.
But I just have to sign, I have to have a copy to post.
Yep.
Okay, moving on to discussion and possible action on furnace maintenance.
Jim, okay, Jim Johnson's not here. Jim contacted, huh? No, hang on, I got, Jim Johnson contacted Kirshner's, and Kirshner said that they would not come out and help us. Do we have a credit for them? Did we do anything to try and get the credit back?
Not at this point because we were going to spend that money, so we do still have that credit.
How are we gonna spend it?
Do you want to reach out to them and see if they'll refund it to us? I mean, I don't know if they will, but
I'm guessing that they probably won't.
yeah.
So the
It's
only-
worth a try.
Why won't they refund our money?
Well,
If it's owed to us.
I can't, there's no guarantee.
We can try it, and then if they don't, then we'll go from there.
How much?
Well, let's try and get it refunded, because I think that would make sense, but if we can't get a refund on it, then let's make a note that we're gonna order gas from them the next time we need gas.
We can't enter, do we own the tank?
We own the tank.
Okay, then we could do this.
Here, it's like 200.
I thought it was 249, 247.
Yeah. Sorry, it's stuck. Thank you, Seth.
What year is it from?
This year, I think.
Oh.
I think it's from this year, because I've been going back through the old vouchers, and I think I found it earlier this year where something just accidentally got paid twice. Yeah, I don't know how to do it.
Has anybody contacted them yet?
No, not as far as I know. No.
Well, other than us trying to get them to come out. You got news on this?
But everybody seems to be forgetting all the research that was already done on repairing the furnace. We had bought Kirshner's out previously. They were not interested in touching the furnace because there were equipment and the ways it was put together, and there were questions on who actually even put it in. So then we contacted the company directly who makes that furnace, and they sent us a manual that someone could use for trying to check what was wrong with it and things like that. We brought in a couple of other companies who also looked at it and suggested that they also would not touch it because it hadn't been installed correctly. Now, that's what they said. I am not a boiler person, okay? But one of the gentlemen did suggest that last year in the winter, this entire building was heated by the Modine unit, okay? It kept it warm enough, it was comfortable. And the suggestion was that you put in like a space heater or something in the bathroom area because it appeared that the bathroom and kitchen area was connected to that boiler upstairs, okay? And by the time September rolled around and all that information was gathered, there was no action, of course, but that was where we were at. And we actually priced out replacing the boiler. And at that point, then Kirshner's and other companies were interested, and you would have had to decide what you wanted in there. So there was a lot already researched on that, and it was discussed at some board meetings.
Well, now you
It
gotta
was
go
not
to
finalized. It was not
$500.
finalized.
Sure.
But Kirshner's had already backed out of doing anything with that boiler unit.
So we have a credit, and we'll just ask them
I think we should.
to send it back.
Okay.
And there's been work done now with the boiler, correct?
Correct. Jim, you want to tell us what has been done? Tell us,
Go ahead and
tell us what you and Jim have done on the boiler.
It's,
I told you you wouldn't be
What?
able to hear and hear, but you said it'd be fine.
Alright, we contacted Kirshner's. They refused to come out and service the system.
speak up, Jim.
Kirshner, we contacted Kirshner. They refused to come out and honor the amount of money that they were willing for us, and they did not service the system. We contacted another competent service group,
Terrytown.
Terrytown. The gentleman came out here, made several repairs. The boiler has no issues, it works fine, the way it's supposed to. The control system that is no longer manufactured or supported is what failed. So the service person, knowing we had to get heat in the building to save ridiculous amount of repairs if the building froze, put in some temporary controls so that we have the heat that you can feel tonight. A new control system has been ordered. When it arrives, he will come and install it so that the system works the way it's supposed to. That should be within the budget limits that you gave us to work with. And it should be here fairly soon. As soon as it arrives, we'll get it installed and we'll get the system back. Right now, it overheats a little bit and until it gets really bitterly cold, that's not a problem. So the ejector system that is on order will put it back to where the system. The boiler right now is producing water that's a little hotter than what the floor likes. But we brought it up gradually and it's okay. It's working, it's keeping the building warm, but we will get it back to its design function shortly.
Thank you.
Any questions on that?
Just an estimate on what do you think the price will be?
They quoted the control system at around $500.
That's $500 for just the part. That doesn't count the installation on that. And
Well, even if it's twice that, that's
Right.
how much better than the new boiler.
exactly.
Oh, by a long shot. And the boiler does not have a problem.
Now, if you ordered a manual for it, or we got a manual for the boiler, where is it?
Should be with clerk's paperwork.
I have not seen it.
See, when I got stuff, I handed it over. And just one question in regard to this, I see you've got Jim Johnson or K&M, whatever, doing all that work. And you mentioned earlier the audit, the workers' comp audit. You know, you have to provide certificates of insurance and everything for every person you pay to provide services for the town. So for example, the recycling company, Jeremy Albright, or when Joe Buchholz does work, or anybody that does work on behalf of the town. And we have to supply those certificates of insurance to the auditor for the workers' comp audit. That's part of it. And I just was questioning whether you had obtained that.
Okay.
And also, I had been told by the previous clerk that the audit had been completed last May, this past May, so
I don't know, our insurance company says it
it
wasn't.
wasn't.
Yeah.
So are you gonna call for a certificate of insurance or not need to?
You need to have that copy, yeah, just to cover yourself, only in case something happens.
Sure.
Okay, thank you for all of that. I don't know that we have anything else on furnace maintenance. Okay, if nothing else, we'll move into the new business, starting with the discussion and possible action on setting a date for spring election caucus. And Courtney did some research on that.
Yeah, so caucusing is new to me, so I've been rereading the manual multiple times. So it sounds like the caucus has to be held sometime between January 2nd and January 21st. Statute does say that special consideration needs to be given to holding it on January 21st. But you do not have to hold it on the 21st. So I don't know why they tell you special consideration should be given to that date. So it's up to the board when they want to hold that caucus. I would recommend doing it probably on a Saturday, make sure as many people as want to be there can be there.
What day of the week would the 21st be?
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
I think the 21st is because that's the magic date of the day of the week, because it's Tuesday.
And it,
Elections and stuff usually happens
yeah.
on Tuesdays.
And it does say it does not have to be held on a Tuesday. But you're probably right, that's why they put the deadline on the Tuesday.
And you're leaning towards a Saturday?
I guess that's just my opinion. You guys do what you want. I just figured more people would be apt to come, and this is definitely something that you want people to come to that want to be able to be there. I mean, you don't want people to have to take time off work or anything like that to come to your caucus.
Since I've been here, it's never been on a weekday. It's always been the Monday, the same night as, like, just before the regular board meeting.
Okay.
Oh, okay, let's go that way then.
So that would be the 20th?
I make a motion to set the caucus date for January 20th.
Is it ahead of the board meeting?
Yes.
So that'd be what, 5
What
o'clock?
time? Yeah.
I think what they, well, let me look at what they did last year. Last year they did it January 16th at 7 o'clock, but that's when our meetings were at 7 o'clock. So if we do it at 6 o'clock, and then you do the regular board meeting
immediately.
just like we did with the public hearing.
So board and then here.
Nope, you'll do the
No, the
caucus at 6 p.m.
Caucus first.
Yep,
And then
regular meeting to
regular
immediately follow.
Meeting, yes. Now, what we also have to do for that,
No, not yet.
for that caucus meeting is we have to, the electors that are at the meeting have to determine, now for instance, if Lindsay wants to run again, Lindsay cannot be the one that operates the caucus meeting. So we have to, the electors have to determine who will be the person running the meeting. We also have to have 2 people designated as tabulators, I think is what they call them. And Cheryl, didn't you do that?
I can't hear what you're saying, Carol.
At the caucus meeting, were you a tabulator?
Yes.
Counting
What
votes?
was it in Westfield?
Hmm?
Was it in Westfield or here?
The one here.
At the caucus meeting here in January 2023. Well,
2023?
yeah, it's a long time ago, so maybe you don't
No,
remember.
I don't know.
So I can look, you can look at the minutes And what they did at the last caucus meeting is that John Bennett opened the caucus by appointing Robert Goldfuss. Well, the statutes say that the electors have to appoint the caucus chairman and then ballot clerks. And Sharon Galonski and Jeremy Porter were the ballot clerks, if needed. So you do the nominations, and then there's a second, and if you have 2 people nominated, then that's all you need. But if 3 people get nominated, then you have to have a vote at the meeting to determine who the top 2 vote getters are to then be placed on the ballot. So we have to designate who those 2 people will be, so then you need to contact somebody to see if they're going to do that.
I'll second the motion for setting the date for the 20th of January.
I think we can hear better now, we killed the fan.
Any further discussion on setting the date? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
So we need to figure out how we're going to conduct the caucus meeting, and I don't know when you want to, we can't wait till next month to do that, so we have to figure out how do we conduct it?
What do you mean?
Well, there's a whole lot of rules.
Yeah, there's a whole manual on it.
Right, so who's going to conduct the meeting if they knows what they're doing?
So I reached out to the Elections Commission with some questions similar to that, and they said that who runs the meeting and your tabulators are determined at the caucus.
Right, but how do they know how to run the meeting?
We'll have the manual there. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's too difficult of a process. I'll have all the paperwork and everything ready and can kind of walk them through whoever is doing it, what they need to do and what they need to say and everything. I mean, I don't, like I said, I've never been a part of one, but after reading the manual, it doesn't sound like it's too difficult of a process to do.
No, it's just that, but it has to be done precisely
Yeah.
to make sure that it's, and I don't know if we wanted to contact Robin Goldfuss and see if he'd be willing to be the chairperson again.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you know people who have done it before or are interested, I'd say more power to them.
Okay, do you want to contact him?
I don't think he was interested.
He
never
wasn't,
asked him.
we asked him already.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And you're going to have all the forms, because it
Yeah.
goes into detail on what forms have to be done.
Okay. Anything else on the spring election caucus? No? Okay. Discussion and possible action on getting a town debit card.
So this is something I asked to have on the agenda. I believe you guys had a debit card in the past, but with the board changeover and the clerk and treasurer changeover, we just don't have it in right now. And I think it'd be a good idea to do it. So one of the things coming up next on the agenda actually is if board members want to attend the Friends Association district meetings, you have to register for those online now and you have to pay with a credit card. So things like that, it can be used for paying, like when we order paper on Amazon, that way you don't have to reimburse someone. And I mean, it makes it a little bit easier than that. What I'd recommend you do is get it like in the name of either the treasurer or the chairperson or something, not in my name because I will not be here after April, so that would just be a poor decision. And then you would get a list of the charges every month on vouchers as normal.
Did you have something else to add?
We did have the debit card
Yeah.
already. It's a very simple process. The same minutes that you used to say, for example, add your signature as a treasurer, okay? There just needs to be a simple motion, however you want to do it, that delegates the treasurer and would be the holder of the debit card, and they will just issue a new debit card in that person's name. Debbie Johnson had one, and then Brenda had it because of when Debbie left, we needed to continue with things, and you needed to have a debit card for some registrations and things. Very seldom would you even use a debit
No.
card. But it's a simple process. You just kind of decide who you want
Yeah.
to have as the person who handles
I
the
move
debit
that
card.
our treasurer be authorized to get a debit card.
I'll second that motion. Any discussion?
How do we know? The use of debit cards is risky business because it's kind of like giving somebody a check, blank check, and say, here, you now have authority to spend this. how do we know, how do we make sure that the card is used appropriately? If it's misused, how do we recover?
She's
So-
bonded.
Yeah, we are bonded, so that if we did something wrong, you could recoup it that way, but part of it comes down to you have to trust the people that are working for you.
But we also don't have a written policy as to when they can use it.
Right, so you would make, I mean, for things like, if you use it for like the Towns Association district meeting, that should be approved at, a meeting, that's an expenditure that you're gonna put on the debit card. As far as like ordering supplies on Amazon and things, I mean, again, you're gonna get all the copies of the receipts and everything, I mean, I don't,
But that's after the fact. See, the issue I have, we've run into this, say, yeah, it's rare, but I have run into it in real life where it's not used appropriately. The purchase should be made with a prior authorization, so we should have a policy that says, okay, the treasurer can use the card to go purchase paper supplies. Which is
That
fine.
doesn't work if they needs paper and there's not a board meeting coming up, Carol.
Well, no, you have right, that's why you have a written policy to say that you have like an automatic, or so to speak, authorization to use it in these instances.
Is that how you did it with the fire department?
We're not talking fire.
No, I'm asking because the debit card was used for all the purchases within the last year and a half. And just curious.
And they say we're prior approved. Because at our meetings, we can say, we need to have this, or we need to have that.
Like you said, it's a different topic. We didn't have any problems. We made it clear to the treasurer. And if it was going to be used, the treasurer would contact the chairperson and say, should we use it, should we not? It was simple.
Yeah.
It was, if you want it was a simple process, that's all.
And I would like to see an agreement that says, okay, if it's misused, I agree to have my check. Because I misused it, I agree to have my next paycheck garnished for the amount of that misuse.
I don't think you can do
that's
that.
necessary.
I don't think you can do it either.
I think we have some trust here.
Any other discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, the next one is the discussion and possible action on board members attending the WTA district meeting.
did everyone get the email from the Towns Association with the registration and everything? So there are multiple dates coming up in early 2025. Their agenda, the first part of the day is their legislative overview. They have a state legislator panel, and then the afternoon is Board of Review certification training. So at least one member of the Board of Review has to be trained every year now. Anyone who hasn't done it, I mean, I highly recommend you do it just because I think it's, the more people who know how to do Board of Review, the better. They do have a lot of dates coming up. I think the closest one to us is in the Dells, which is Saturday, February 8th at the Wilderness. But I do think the board should approve anyone who wants to go. It is $65 for early registration, which is anything at least 10 days in advance of the date, or it's $80 for late registration or walk-in.
I make a motion that we approve town official participation in the WTA meeting.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
And we designated, but we make sure we have at least one person there?
I haven't decided yet whether I want to attend the meeting. Part of the reason is I don't know if I'm going to be on the board. So why would I take my time and money and spend it doing this training to be a board certified if I'm not on the board? There's only one person has to be it. Now last year I did attend. I know Sharon attended, so we did get certified last year. But
And you have to do it every year.
and
Yeah.
It doesn't carry over.
It
And you've
used to
got,
be every 2 years.
you've
and
got
now it's every
elections
year.
next year, so they will have training sessions after April.
Yes.
So you know who's on your board.
Yeah, the only thing is Board of Review, because I think, later, I'm sorry, I can't think of his first name.
John.
Yes, thank you, John. Sent out tentative dates for early May already, so you're just not gonna have a lot of time if the board does completely turn over to getting people trained and everything. So if you're thinking about running again, I highly recommend that you do this training. You can also get Board of Review training materials from, I believe, UW Extension. I want to say it's like $60. You get a DVD and a training packet that comes with the quiz that you have to take and turn in. So if you chose to go that way, I mean, these meetings are always nice because they talk about legislative updates, and then they do have the state legislator panel, which is kind of nice. They do have 2 virtual options for this as well, I forgot to mention, if anyone would rather do it virtually, but that does not include the state legislature panel, because that's kind of a Q&A thing.
And I did attend the last year, and it is worthwhile to attend if you want to keep in touch. So this is what's happening in the town association, because they know what's going on, and you get to meet with other town officials to network. So it's valuable. I just haven't decided if I'm going to do it yet.
And I think we'll have time at the next meeting if we want to figure out who wants to go and.
What's the deadline for early registration?
So 10 days beforehand is for early registration. So if you decided you wanted to go to the one in the Dells on February 8th, I mean, you'd have to register by the end of January.
Okay.
Yeah, we have some time, yeah.
Yeah, and you can register and pay everything online. Again, that would be a good thing for the debit card.
Okay, the next thing that we have is discussion and possible action on missing town records.
That's an interesting one.
So one of the things that I have is when I had my email account turned over to me, there was barely any emails left on the account. Most of them were deleted. I had tried to contact Rackspace, and they cannot recover the emails after 14 days. So we kind of did step A from our attorney. We could request voluntary access. We could refer to the DA. I don't know what we should do about the missing emails and.
Well, it's not just the missing emails, it's also the missing financial transaction reports, the documents, the backups for deposit slips, the bills that were written to support the checks that were written. Now, did you find any of those records?
Yeah, so I have started going through them. So I think I've gotten through everything's intermixed. So I actually, when she came here earlier, I had these tables covered in papers. September, August, April, and June, I think I have, because that's where they started. But there are some bills where I have the check for it, but I don't have the corresponding bill for it. Could still be mixed in with some of the paperwork I'm going through, but I do seem to be missing quite a few months where I don't have any bills. 2023 seems to be complete. Those were all nice in folders for each month, but the 2024 stuff was just in that blue tote. It was just full of paperwork. So I have found some of it, but I have not found all of it. And I don't know where else to look.
Did you find any deposit information or any bank statements? Because I know I gave you bank statements.
No.
Yep. And we can get all the bank statements.
Well, no, I understand, but I'm just trying to understand what state law says the town officials have to maintain the records, and it has to be turned over to the incoming officer. So I just want to know what was turned over.
It looked like that last bucket that you gave me was just all the tax information, all the taxes sent out and collected or whatever. I don't have we should have all the deposit books. There's copies in there. You have 2 copies for them deposit books. Where are the deposit books with the yellow copies
I
in
mean,
them?
we don't use deposit books.
deposit books?
Oh, well, she was using deposit books.
Why would you not use a deposit book? You're
No,
giving-
she was using deposit books. Carol, you're talking about
Yeah.
Carolyn Severy? Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't have them deposit. Unless they're somewhere. I don't have them.
And nothing was on her laptop, the town laptop?
I think she was up until, what was that, September. End of September is all she had listed on there. But why is she, just having that on her laptop, that's not enough. You should have records of everything you take to the bank. That's how I'm gonna do it.
So does she still have that material?
No, I have blank deposit slips, but I don't have deposit slips that she wrote out and we have the copies, I don't have them. I mean, you could get copies from the bank of all the checks, but why would you want to pay for that? I mean, you shouldn't have to.
You should be able to download all that stuff from the bank's website, copies of the deposit slips, everything that she did. But she did her own job the way she did it. So have you asked her if she's got all that stuff?
No. I don't even have a number.
Well, I'm just saying, have you asked? If by chance then she didn't just turn it all over.
Forgot to
I don't
turn it over
know.
or something?
But she had to have had it to do it.
Well, I don't have it. So she wasn't even using the Quicken that was on the program there. She wasn't using that, she was just using a spreadsheet. So I entered everything on the Quicken program, so I can reconcile everything. I don't even know if she was reconciling the checkbook.
She wasn't.
She wasn't.
That's because she wasn't on Quicken like she should have been.
No, she was learning. That's all I can say.
Okay,
So you want to leave it at that? She should have that.
Well,
I should have had it. I would reach out to her. Somebody on the
Sure.
board reach out to her and ask.
so Sharon, how does Lindsay get emails that you had over to her?
How does Lindsay get emails?
Right, you had a lot
Well,
of.
right after I was recalled, within a few days, of course, I was dealing with my husband, all right? I contacted Fred and asked him to shut off my access to RecSpace. And then I said, who was elected, that she should have to set up her own password and everything. I had multiple files and things there. I can't say what happened to anything after the day I told Fred that I was no longer chairperson and shouldn't be on that site or have access to it. So there were one or two that came through where somebody was asking a question, I responded. I can't tell you.
Okay.
I have no access to it or control of it from the day I contacted Fred.
Sure. I know I have like where the files, I think you have them set up like,
Well, I would
Certain
break out
categories.
based on what,
yeah, and I have those and there's nothing in there when I open them up.
Now, you always maintained a big box that had everything in it. Do we have that?
My paper files on things?
That box you
My
carry around
notes and things.
with all the records for the township.
Some of it was records, yeah. But
Have you turned
copies of things that were given to the clerk.
But I mean, that box, have you turned that whole thing over?
Oh, they're not originals. The clerk has the originals of everything I had there. I did tell Lindsay I would go through when things settled down for me and see if there was anything else. But there are things that I collected on my own that I used to assist mine. Most of what I had was here or in the hard files that I gave to the clerk. Documents, records, anything that was signed. I always turn that over on a monthly basis to our clerk. I have no idea what it is you think I have. If you want emails or anything, Carol has a lot
I
of
just
them.
thought when the transition, you would just turn that information, just transfer it over.
It doesn't just automatically transfer over. Any of my notes, anything like that, those are mine. Copies of financial reports, those are the same thing the treasurer is responsible for having in their files. All that is our records that are things that we were all given at board meetings.
I get this, and I got the folder at home with it, but you've got it too.
I'm not sure what you think I all have. And like I said, I would give Lindsay things that I found when I came across them and when I had time. I've been home for 2 weeks, coming up with a routine for my husband to function.
So the question is, do we just accept the fact that we don't have the records? If we were audited, we would not pass an audit, let's just put it that way.
What
Do we
records?
just-
I mean, if you're specific, maybe I can find something, but
Well,
I don't have some.
I asked for the manual. Where's the manual for the boiler? And you said, well, you gave it to the clerk.
Well, I
We
did.
got the standard language from Brenda and from you you've got everything. So they go look through the records and they can't find it. So something's going wrong, and I'm not sure what it is.
Well, I
So how do
know
we proceed?
bookkeeping processes between how I do things and how Brenda did things were nowhere near the same. I cannot speak to how she organized her files.
So what do? We just let this drop, or do we, according to state statutes, it's supposed to be turned over? If it's not turned over, the remedy is to go through the circuit court. So do we want to talk to the circuit court clerk and see what options we have?
I'm not really sure where we should go with it, or do we take it back to the attorney and see what he said? Like, if we are audited, what would he recommend we do at this time?
And I think you come up with a specific list of things you think you don't have that would be audited.
Well, the financial records.
And why wouldn't the treasurer have, I mean, you have them all, Carol. I have a set of them.
I have no bills other than the attorney bills.
Oh, I don't have any of
And-
that. The clerk would have the bills and her records of payments for those. That all comes from the clerk.
The voucher reports, I understand there's a lot of stuff there that should have been turned over and we could
Right.
probably recreate. Please,
I'm agreeing.
quiet. We could probably recreate some of this stuff if we have to.
If we have to.
Yeah.
Let's just keep looking, okay? Move on.
I think that's probably a good place to start until we come across something that we may need. We can ask for it, see if you have it possibly somewhere
Or
else.
can you direct somebody to find it?
Sure.
I mean,
Sure, okay. Anything else on the missing town records? Keith, you good?
Yeah.
Okay. Discussion and possible action on changing the town attorney. Did you put
I
that
brought
on?
that up.
Okay.
I think we should get something more local. I think we're spending a lot of money.
I think we're spending a lot.
You know, every time you spend a minute on the phone call, it's $35.
Mhm.
You know, that's just money being wasted.
Do you have somebody else in mind, or?
No, I do not, but before we start, first get approval and then start looking.
I agree that we should cut ties with our current attorney.
Well, tell them what the bill was this month. This last month.
Well, you can see it, the voucher report over there says that the bill that we paid for the attorney for October services was $6,744.
wow.
What we paid the
Town
attorney,
cannot afford that.
what we paid the attorney thus far in 2024 is $30,629.
Gee, your money.
I think it's a lot of money to be paying for an attorney. I think we have to take a look at getting one closer to home, but it's not easy to do that because you have to have one that's going to be doing municipal law. So for example, the attorney here in town wouldn't take any of this because he's not a municipal law attorney. And there are municipal law attorneys throughout like in Portage, Boston, so they are available. But I think we have to also determine who we're gonna go to, but then also when do we take something to the attorney? And we can't just call and say, hey, go check with the attorney for this, because we can get some information from WTA if they have legal things available. So I think we have to figure out, anytime we want to talk to the attorney, we should be saying, we should have a board decision to talk to the attorney for that specific purpose.
For that particular item.
Well,
who does the Westfield, the town of Westfield?
The town
The
of Westfield?
The village, I'm sorry.
I'm not even sure who they use. I know
I've seen his name, but.
I think it's Eric.
But see, I'm
one
not,
of the surrounding municipalities uses one over in Boston.
And I know a couple in Marquette County use Jesse's Gankowski down.
It's Jesse, yeah, that's right.
yeah, it's just, but then you're also gonna have to run into the issue of, for example, if when we want to negotiate the fire services agreement, Jesse can't represent the village, he can't represent us.
Oh, is he who does the village? Oh, okay.
So you,
Jesse's firm does the Lake District,
Do they?
and there's conflict of interest issues there too. They're out of Portage.
We had the Boston one, but he actually was more expensive than Eric.
No, Scott Morton is not.
Yes, it is.
Yes,
His
it
bill
is.
was higher.
Adams
We-
has a lot of nice attorneys.
What was that?
Adams, why don't you look up there?
We could do some checking and see who does it and how much they are and bring it back to the next meeting and
Yeah.
see
Yep.
if that's okay.
I just think we're spending too much money, and every time we make a decision, we don't have to run it past the attorney first.
Correct.
Is there one person who's gonna reach out to other attorneys, or should I just put that all of you will be brainstorming and reaching out?
We could start calling, looking for asking for people who do municipal law, right?
Well, we know that they're in Portage, we know that they're in Boston.
Mabel said maybe an Adams.
Maybe in Adams.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's up in Adams. I do know that I talked to an attorney up in Adams and I did not go back to them. But that's just one person.
Sure. Okay, well, let's do some checking and bring it back to the January meeting and see what we come up with. Maybe if we can get their fees or something along those lines to help us make a decision, we should try and get some of those too. Discussion and possible action on internet setup in the fire department building. So Courtney did have to use her hotspot to run the printer over here because we don't have internet over here right now. And so I did contact Marquette Adams about how it would go. And he basically said, I was notified that you inquired about getting internet access. We can handle that with no additional construction. While not required, I'll include the Wi-Fi router so anyone can connect wirelessly to the internet. And they explained that they have like the 3 packages. 300M is $79.95 a month, 500M is $99.95 a month, and 1 gigabyte is $129.95 a month. Wi-Fi router is $7.95 a month, and if by chance a single router does not provide adequate coverage, an additional Wi-Fi router is $3.95 a month.
We have a tight budget. It's a lot of money to be spending for internet connections. So tell me how often, that we have the internet over there, it was password protected, and show of hands, how many people know what the password was for using the router over there, for the internet over there?
What is the service over there?
Just regular internet service.
Keep in mind over there, when you have an election, you have to be very careful as to who has access to internet in that building. So the password wasn't spread out to everyone. And there are people who work and make accusations tied in with elections that other people then can tap into what's occurring in that building during election times. We had that question.
Yeah, but nothing is done other than printing stuff. I mean, the machine doesn't hook up to the internet.
This came from Brenda, because she was using the internet constantly while she was there. You guys who worked with her, I don't know, this is what I was informed.
Yeah, the machine's not hooked up to the internet.
This is what I had been informed. Because you already have internet over there. You could set up for Zoom meetings over there.
What
You know?
internet carrier do we have over there?
Or Marquette.
So why can't they just switch it here from there?
I didn't ask.
We're already paying for it.
We're already paying for it over
Yeah,
there.
why can't they put a Wi-Fi?
Just transfer it over here.
Do they know we're already paying, that we already have something over there?
I'm not really sure. This was just an email. I had talked to one of the receptionists because he wasn't getting back to me, and then this was an email that I got from him.
Okay, because I
So I didn't really have any other communication with him other than him giving me this.
okay, so I have, Marquette Adams. So I have it in my house and I have it in my garage. We just have a Wi-Fi. You can add a Wi-Fi,
Extender.
yeah, whatever. So see if they can do that for the same price. We paid 77 something.
That's a good idea.
Okay. I can email him back and find out if that's an option, if we can, I don't know that the extender will work being inside of a metal building.
It's inside my building.
Oh, it is? Okay, well then maybe we will have more luck with that then.
I don't know if mine's a little bit closer, but I mean, we're right next door.
Yeah, I don't understand why.
Sure. Okay, so I will contact him back and see what else we can do about that.
Tell me you already have an existing account and you just want the road over here, so we
Sure.
can get rid of it.
Okay, sure. So letter G, discussion and possible action on the fire department audit investigation.
Do you mind if I just tell about Terry contacting me? Or do you want to go first? Okay. Terry Johnson had contacted me, said that there have been complaints filed against her husband and the treasurer for the fire department. They said someone from the Green Lake County Sheriff's Office had come and talked to them. And she just wasn't sure what was happening with that, if the investigation was still going on, whatnot. So I contacted Green Lake County. They said the investigation was still going on and couldn't give me any information. So I contacted them again and just said, can you confirm just what the investigation was for? Was this something that the town voted on to like complain about? Was it an individual? Like I didn't have any information on it. They said, the investigation's been turned over to the Marquette County District Attorney's Office. So I contacted the District Attorney's Office and they said, we don't have any information about the beginning of the investigation, contact the Sheriff's Office. And I contacted Marquette County Sheriff's Office. And all they could tell me is just that it was an investigation for theft. So it is, I don't know if you necessarily call the investigation ongoing, but it is with the DA's office right now.
So was that against our last treasurer? Is that what you said?
JD Lang.
It's related to the donation account. Now, first off, the audit of the donation account was illegal to start with. When the audit report was issued, it dealt with the worst thing in there was missing records. We haven't heard this before, but it's like all of a sudden you have checks are written with no invoice to back it up. When everything was cleared out of this building, the fire department no longer had access to it. It was turned over to the other town officials, and we don't know what they did with it. So something happened with the records. We don't know what it was. If somebody removed them, somebody did something with the records, we don't know what happened, and then they're not telling us. So we only know about missing records. I don't know how theft was brought up as being an item to be investigated. So I think that, based on what I'm hearing, I think we should do what Jim Johnson has asked us to do, because Terry followed up with me. What I got today was, here, this is the original. I got a letter from Jim Johnson that's addressed to the board, and what he's asking the board to do is to have the charges dismissed.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm not afraid to say what happened. The state requested that an audit be conducted of the fire department's donation account. The State Department of Safety and Professional Services, who oversees volunteer fire departments, requested that an audit be done. The documents that were stored in that storage building over there had been turned over to an auditing firm outside of Marquette County because they just didn't want any interference with possibly somebody, family member, whatever, working with a local accounting person or persons. That report was brought back to a board meeting, a special meeting, public hearing in March of 2024, in which the report was provided to all the people there. It was put online on the website, and it was provided to anybody who requested it. At that meeting, the members present voted to send the report and all the papers to the Marquette County Sheriff's Department and the DA for further investigation or discussion.
That's the DSPS report, I just wanna make sure, I was not in
No,
charge of any of this.
DSPS are the people who
Required to
oversee
be on it.
the fire
Yeah.
department. Okay?
Which we don't have.
And we have a letter from him stating he recommended that this be done, so we did it. And, the results that we got back showed a lot of things that were shared with everyone at that public hearing in March. All right? And then we were instructed as a board to turn those over to the DA and the sheriff for further investigation. At that point in time, it was out of the board's hands. We had nothing to do with it. So the DA and the sheriff's department first turned it over to the Department of Justice, who did their own criminal investigation and came back and said what they were recommended to follow up on and who to pursue. Basically, Jim Johnson, as fire chief of the voluntary fire department, would be held responsible for any questions, documents missing, anything to do with the volunteer fire department. Marquette County did not want to get involved with it. They sent it over to Greene County. There, as you found, is where it's sitting. And I'd never gotten another call, nothing. The board was not involved. We followed the dictates of the members, the citizens of the town, in forwarding it for investigation. And it is for theft.
Okay, and so I did talk to Green Lake County, and they said that their part is done and they have referred their information to the Marquette County District.
Fire department at that point in time. She is not involved. It's the person who is managing the fire department who is responsible. And that's not, it's not in the town's hands or anything where you can contact them and say, oh, we want that dismissed. The minute we turn all those records over to those departments, it became an official investigation.
So they still have all the records?
They have the records that they wanted to keep for their investigation. Anything else tied in with the fire department is locked up in that storage building out there. No one has them. They're locked up out there. I mean, that's where it's at.
Right, we're just gonna,
It's gonna go through SOPA.
okay.
I mean, I can reach out to the district attorney's office again and see if they give me more information. I can go down and talk to them, but.
We're talking 9 months. I mean, it's like, this is ridiculous to have, all it was missing records.
That's not true, but it's neither here nor there. It is a moot point at this time. The town has nothing to do with any further investigation or anything that happens.
The sheriff's office told me it was theft. I asked them, I said, wasn't here for any of this, I don't
know how we got from,
I
think there was more information added, because we also know that a derogatory report was issued on March 14th. So somebody had a vendetta against Jim Johnson, and what they're trying to do is get him charged criminally.
And that's your opinion, that's not true.
They're not gonna let it drop. They're not
That's
gonna
your
let
It
it
sure
opinion.
appears that way.
It's not true that
It
it was
sure appears
vetted.
that way.
All the
It
files were
sure appears
given.
that way.
There could have been multiple
It sure
people.
appears that way.
There could have been multiple people that were charged.
You're out of
It
order.
was out of our hands.
Okay, we're gonna just calm down and figure it out and go from there.
You're not the
Trying to
chair.
help her, and then he acts like
All right,
that.
so conclusion is, what's going to be in the minutes, and you're going to follow up with the DA.
I can follow up with the district attorney's office if you would like me to.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I think this has gotten blown way out of proportion when it affects somebody's business.
So when you follow up with the DA, you just wanna give us an update and then we can go from there? Okay. So we'll just leave that as that then. Now we're on to letter H, discussion and possible action regarding
gonna rope it off, and they just wanted, citizens to be aware that they're not gonna rope it off.
Like where the big hole in the ice is?
Yeah, where the big hole, I guess that they're saying that there will not be ropes or reflectors barricading the open water as they used to last year. They're not doing it this year. And they just wanted citizens to be aware of that.
Is there a reason they're not doing it?
Let's see.
But
They don't say why not.
The association notified all the property owners, right?
Yes, they did.
So that's been done, so the only thing
Yeah.
would be, does the association plan on putting up signs saying beware?
They're not putting the signs up and roping it
No,
off.
I'm not talking about opening it off, but I mean, is there a public access?
I think we have a public access, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
On the
They
south-
said, please
southeast corner.
communicate this warning notice to all who have access to the lake
So
from your
at
property.
the public access point, we should probably put up a sign that says, beware of thin ice, open water,
Yeah.
because we're not responsible for it.
Yeah. Again, well, she didn't say we had to, she's just saying that, bring it up in the meeting.
Well, but the meeting here, nobody here lives on Federal Lake.
Right.
So how would we get the information? So the proper way to do it is probably put a sign up by our property, saying, yeah, this is public landing, but we also have to run the risk of open water.
So you don't have like a bulletin board or anything like that where we can hang anything, or it would have to be like a weatherproof sign of some sort? Or like what kind of sign are you thinking?
Yeah, where is it? Where is our public access?
I don't know.
Southeast corner of the lake.
It's in Marquette County.
Hmm?
It's in Marquette County, but the open part of the lake is in Adams County.
Yeah.
So would like a little sign be good, or how?
That's what I would think.
Can you just put it on our website too, as well?
The website is not the place to put it because
Well, nobody goes on it.
people that live on, people that use Fenner Lake are not gonna be the ones that necessarily look at the website before they go out to Fenner's Lake. I just think we should just get a sign made and,
Would we just put it on a tree or something like that?
yeah.
You
Make a
could,
sign.
you could go look. There's something down there. They put another sign and there might be some kind of a box that they've got information in. If you drive down in there,
Okay, okay,
Here.
see if there's something. and
see if there's
not, we can
something
just-
you can hang
Can we just
there.
do one of those white signs? with-
I would say a bright orange myself so that people
Okay.
would see it.
Sure.
Yeah, there's a sign
Is
pole
that
there
something
already.
that Brian can do at the highway department, or is that he's got nothing to do with the signing?
They could make a sign, but I don't, I'd have to go look and see if you can just put something on there, post it on a tree, bright orange.
There's a sign pole already there, I think, that says no motors on the lake.
That says no what?
Motors.
Oh, so you could put it in that one?
You could probably put it right under the other sign.
Or they're recommending we call the DNR?
Yeah.
No.
No?
They're not.
They're not gonna.
I sent them this letter.
No, no,
Oh.
keep, yeah, carry it back.
There's gotta be more signs on more lakes that say thin ice, and somebody has to.
Well, they have that aeration system or whatever, so they're turning it on early, they said.
I can call Brian and see.
They don't wanna kill other fish.
We could, I guess, find out how much a sign would be, if it was a bright orange sign, and something that we could put in, and if it's reasonable. Okay, I can contact Brian about that. Please.
I'll make it that
Okay.
Anything with Brian is expensive. Everything with him is so expensive. Why don't we just make it so?
Yeah, like.
We probably could just make a sign, if Brian doesn't
There's
care.
probably no freaking plastic things that are cheap.
You You think though we need an orange one?
No, I just said orange just to make it obvious.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it could be
Well,
yellow.
if we don't have snow, it could be white and still be obvious, but once we get snow, it might be.
If it's white, don't want to see it.
Something Keith can see in charge.
Keith, do you want to be in charge of that sign?
Yeah.
Okay. Chris, you hear that? You out there? Okay. All right, so Keith is gonna make some sign then.
I got it in a minute, so.
Okay.
Chris will make it, I'll put it up.
There you go. She's got no idea. Okay.
We couldn't hear what you said.
We're gonna put a sign up on Fenner's Lake at our public access indicating to people that there's open water. So we're just gonna make a sign, put it on the post that's there that says open water and help people
Stay
be
clear.
aware.
Stay clear.
But
Because Chris is gonna make
Chris is gonna
Keith
count out the sign and I'll put it up. Is that legal?
Do they have insurance?
Saying open water?
What about the
Should
insurance?
be. Just warning people.
You might want to check with their lakes.
The Venice Lake Association.
I would just double check with them.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, shoot, what, 16 in the morning, notice, all the access, well, how are we supposed to get this information out to everybody?
Well, and I asked her, and she just said, but obviously not everybody comes to the meetings.
Right, sure. Okay, well, we'll just make a sign, I guess, and we mentioned it at the meeting, and I guess if that's what she wants us to do, that's what we'll do.
And you can check with her.
Yeah, I can call her, make sure.
I mean, I don't know, does Lawrence Lake have, open water? Because they have open water at Lawrence Lake too.
Yeah, well.
Almost every lake has some areas where
I mean,
there's open
everybody
water.
uses common sense.
What sign?
No,
I mean, there's open water everywhere.
I think it's because of the area that people come from used to
Yeah.
having that.
Yeah, they're used to having it roped off or whatever. Yeah.
You just don't somebody taking a snowmobile and
Going swimming? Okay, well, we will move on to discussion and possible action on change from QuickBooks Desktop to QuickBooks Online. Yeah, Virginia, do you want Courtney to go first, so then this way you kind of know what she has?
let her go
Is that
first,
okay?
sure.
Okay.
Understand this. So this would be QuickBooks for you, or would it be QuickBooks for the both of you?
So that's what I'm gonna touch on.
Okay.
So, what started this was the version of QuickBooks that I use as the clerk is QuickBooks Desktop 2015. It is outdated and no longer supported by Intuit, and it really needs to be updated. It's not backed up. It just is not super functional anymore. What Intuit really pushes now is their QuickBooks Online, which is significantly cheaper than their desktop versions. I did look at their desktop versions, and they're anywhere from $1,000 to $2,500 per year to keep it up to date. QuickBooks Online is $35 a month, I believe. Thank you. $35 per month. So I had mentioned this, and Jane had mentioned that she's using an outdated version of Quicken, and she wanted to know if we could both use QuickBooks. And I reached out to QuickBooks because we can't have access to each other's information. So the clerk and treasurer are both supposed to keep their own set of books and then reconcile to each other at the end of every month. So I reached out to someone at QuickBooks and talked to them, and they said you can buy 2 versions of QuickBooks. It's called Simple Start. It's their most basic online plan. And she said you can buy just 2 versions and you each just have your own version. It's all hosted online. There's nothing that's tied to a computer. If you go to their QuickBooks Online website, and it's extremely user-friendly. It has all the reports that you're looking for, and it's very helpful. So again, it's $35 per month. If we buy 2 subscriptions, they do give us 50% off both subscriptions for the first year. So for the first year, we would only be paying $35 per month total, and then after that, it would go to $70 per month because each of us would have our own copy of it if we decided to do that. So that's what I have on that.
Isn't this online also The backup is in the clouds. so
Yes, yes, it's backed up.
Much easier for us to make sure we keep our records.
Yes, it is all fully backed up, in the cloud, so like I said, the QuickBooks Desktop, it's not supported, you can't back it up anymore. I mean, whether you decide to go with QuickBooks Online or do something else, you should do something. I think QuickBooks Online is just the most user-friendly and the most cost-efficient. It is one.
And does the QuickBooks, will this version also allow us to do payroll?
It can, payroll is expensive, so payroll you're gonna be looking at in the thousands again. Payroll is not cheap for some
So
reason.
we don't have that.
You do not have payroll. I do payroll by hand. I'm comfortable doing payroll by hand. I don't know who your next broker is going to be, if we're going to be comfortable doing payroll by hand. It's not really difficult. You just have to look up the tax tables.
Or if you do, you could still use the payroll program and put your own amounts in there though. Because the payroll will be on QuickBooks, but you have to pay for the service for them to update all the tax tables all the time. That's what you have to pay.
Okay, I just do it all by hand and just break the checks.
Right, but you could probably maybe still use the payroll system and then just put in the deductions for.
Yeah, I don't know if they let you into that portion of it if you're not paying
Oh,
for the
okay, maybe they
subscription.
won't.
I don't know, that might be a possibility, I just don't know. But yeah, I've always, whenever I break records, I always done it by hand because it's easier and cheaper.
So your online version would always automatically be updated, right?
Yeah, it's all always.
It would never be outdated.
It would never be outdated because they keep it, I mean, it's online, it's updated, $35 a month. Is that gonna go up at some point? Probably. I mean, they're a business, everything's going up. But right now it's $35 a month. And that's just the fee for it.
So I wanna know why can't we just use, you can create users for, you can have certain access to QuickBooks and I can have certain access.
Because we're supposed to fully keep our own books.
It's not QuickBooks that's making this decision, it's the state, or the.
Yeah, the way
Right,
it's supposed to be
right.
done. So I take care of expenses and write them, and you take care of deposits and all of that. And then at the end of the month, we trade information and we both balance our own account.
Okay.
So we can't just not have access to half of what we're supposed
So
to do.
even if two people are looking at what's going in and out, that's not good enough, huh?
Right. Yeah, we have to be able to balance to each other. Yeah, if we had access, we can't have access to each other's books.
So you're reconciling on your end as well then, right?
Yes.
Right, so you both reconcile and then you say, okay, we agree at the end of the month. So Virginia,
Yes. My question was that last year and obviously part into this year, that they've always had trouble reconciling things and no one had anything that aligned. And so I was wondering if there was a possibility of having some system, because the previous treasurer was going off one other system and other people were going off another, and none of them would ever jive or get close to.
Yeah, so it is, oh, I'm sorry.
I was saying, I think what I think we should propose here is to have the QuickBooks Online twice. One
Yes.
for
Yes.
Jane and then one for, and I'd say Jane and Courtney now, but it would be for the treasurer and for the clerk.
I think that's
In come April.
a good idea.
I move second.
I'll second the motion and have two.
That's what I did.
I did the motion.
You made the motion? Okay. I did too. Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
All right. That'll
Opposed?
make life easier.
Okay, I will reach out to the person at QuickBooks and get those purchased, and then you'll have your own, and I'll have my own, and I'll have them reach out to you. Okay.
Okay, and then just the upcoming meeting dates, our regular town board meeting is January 20th of 2025, and the spring election caucus is January 20th as well, starting at 6 o'clock. And then the board meeting will follow.
At this location.
No, I was wondering if it says Westfield Fire Station, I thought you had to go in the town court.
No, here.
This Westfield.
This is Westfield.
It's not a fire station, it's a building.
Will they be able to take my equipment and transfer it over?
No, you'll have to ask them. I don't know, you have to show them, you'll have to ask.
Okay.
I'm starting from scratch.
So now we have to go home and root for for the bears, so they keep the Vikings, right?
Yes. Let's, well, I guess I can adjourn. Keith, I move to adjourn.
I'd second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
Carrie, I just want to comment that I don't want my video, my face shown on YouTube. I'm making that request if it's private.
Never turned it toward you.